Radical.
Well, hello, retro game players. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Marcus, and welcome to Retro Gaming Sunset. On this very first episode of Retro Gaming Sunset, we've got a couple of guest appearances from other awesome YouTube channels, and the show's format is going to cover movies, toys, books and comics, video games, and music. So 5 different awesome categories, and it's going to be smashed into one video. So that's what's going to be going on Retro Gaming Sunset. But first up is the video game section, and it's going to be some kind of an unreleased Super Nintendo game. Let's check it out. Today on Game Slam, we're going to be talking about Star Fox 2, the unreleased game for the Super Nintendo. Originally developed by Argonaut Games and Nintendo, it was slated for a summer release in the year 1995. It's a follow-up to Star Fox, which is an amazing polygon shooter, and a very early polygon shooter at that. Of course, there were other ones out there, but that one was done on Nintendo by Shigeru Miyamoto, and it was phenomenal. It was phenomenally received as well. It needed an FX chip to help with the graphics and the processing of all those extra polygons, which nowadays, polygons kind of didn't go very well over the course of the late 90s, but back then it was awesome. It was really, really cool. But ironically, polygons may have actually had something to do with why this game got canceled. It had to do with the polygon style of this game and the release of it. Well, the release was very close to the N64 debut, which, as most of you know, it was a polygon-heavy system. So what happened was, this game was canceled because it just wasn't up to snuff as far as what the N64 was going to have. So it's kind of disappointing. I don't know if Shigeru Miyamoto himself had anything to do with that, or why it was actually, canceled so close to release, because this game is probably around 95% complete. So here's the cartridge here. But yeah, this is really an awesome game, which is sad that it was actually canceled. So this is the title screen for Star Fox 2, and you can see Emperor Andros in the background, peering through with his one eye there. After you begin, you're taken to this quick cutscene that kind of explains how he's launching a new attack on Corneria, and then you'll see this map screen. And on the map screen, on the upper right, is where you're kind of trying to get to Andros' new base. And on the bottom left is Corneria, and you have to protect that from all of these threats. So battleships, missiles, all those things are trying to just take you out. This is where you get to choose who you're going to play with, so you can actually choose any of these characters, including 2 new ones, Miu and Faye. And they both are available, actually all of those guys are available to help you out, which is pretty neat. So right off the bat, we're going to take on a missile because the missiles are everywhere. You got to take them out. They're not terribly difficult, but again, you got to take these things out and get back to the main screen so you can continue on. Because this whole time, things are advancing on Corneria, which makes it somewhat of a real-time strategy game. Here's another really cool monster I came across called a Mirage Dragon, and I just love how it's super arcadey looking. This is a battleship, and the battleships can launch missiles, but as they take damage, you actually trigger a cutscene where you land on the ship, or actually go inside of it, and you have to get to the core. So during this scene, you can transform into this strange mecha-warrior type thing, and it's a lot easier to walk around and strafe left to right while taking out things like the core. I love the explosions in this game as well. So here's another core entrance which you need to find on this particular meteor planet, which I've landed on. So here I am sort of exploring. There's lots of enemies and turrets that you need to take out, and then once you find the entrance, you're basically inside, and you need to kind of keep progressing. This is a really cool looking ship that I came across. So once you get to the core, again, you just got to get in there and try and survive, take it down. It's a pretty cool fight, actually. And I love the graphics. I really, really do think that it's really a fun level. So there's quite a few of those you have to do as well. Again, look at that explosion. So here we are at Andros's base, and it's the final mission battle that you have with him. He's super cool. I'm not going to show the entire battle, but this intro is really interesting. And he shows up in this sort of 3D hollow cube and then morphs into this pretty creepy looking face that reminds me of the same face sort of in the first game when you had to shoot him in the eyes. And anyway, the gameplay's really fun in this battle, and the whole game is actually very impressive to me. It does have 3 different difficulty levels, and depending on which difficulty level you choose, it does affect the gameplay. So I highly recommend you guys check this out, especially if you're a fan of Star Fox or like the first game. So that's it for this segment of Game Slam. I really do love Star Fox 2. I seriously think that game is so awesome. So definitely look for it. Get a repro of it or find the ROM file and at least check it out. It's worth it. I highly, highly recommend it. Alright, so next up is a very special appearance. Let's go and hit it off to the toy section.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Toy Trunk. I'm Joe Grotesque from Generation Rad and the Retro Cynical channel right here on YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at a beloved character from the 1988 Tim Burton film Beetlejuice. So, without further ado, let's take a look. So let's get a good little look at this here Beetlejuice from Mezco Toys. Now this came out in 2016, so it's quite modern. Now, Beetlejuice has a huge fan base, much like many of Tim Burton's works. Out of everything that's ever come out that's based off of this character, I think this is one of the very best. Let's get a good look at the box. Got the Beetlejuice logo here. This box is very minimalistic in design, but that's kind of cool in this case because it doesn't really overpower the figure. The figure is definitely in the forefront. Let's get him out of the box. Now that's one of the things that I'll note right away about this figure is you can easily take it out of the box and put it back in. So this is very collector conscious as far as its packaging. Now this definitely has a Michael Keaton likeness to it, but in a very caricature style. The sculpt is quite lovely and the paint job is excellent. Now some people might gripe at the fact that he has very minimal articulation. A little bit of articulation in the arms and hands, a little bit in the legs and feet, but not really any head articulation at all, but you can still get some pretty cool poses out of them, kind of like the "It's Showtime" pose. So I really don't have a whole lot more to say about this figure other than that it's awesome, and I highly recommend it if you're into collecting Tim Burton or Beetlejuice related memorabilia. So, go on out and get you one. Back to you, Marcus.
Wow, that's awesome. I've never even seen that toy. I didn't know that they were making anything Beetlejuice related anymore. I definitely remember the ones from the 80s. I think I used to have the one with like the swords that would go through him. But yeah, all those Beetlejuice toys were really interesting. So thanks very much, Joe. I appreciate that. And up next, it's time to lower our voices and head off to the Reading Retro area. On this segment of Reading Retro, we're going to be taking a look at the 1990 Insider's Guide to the Nintendo World Championships. This guide covers various things such as what you can expect at the Nintendo World Championships, and also I believe some of the publishers and their games that they might be having, and their booths and exhibits and things like that. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so here's the cover. You can see Nintendo World Championships 1990. The Insider's Guide to the NWC, It's a very thin book. On the back, we've got a very nice old school Oreo ad. So that's a full pager. I wonder how much that cost. Immediately on the inside, we've got our table of contents. So it kind of talks about the overview of what to expect, I'd imagine. Nintendo, Acclaim, hands-free controller. So these are going to be different things, you know, that had exhibits, I believe. So pretty cool. There's a Jello ad over there. So right off, finally live, Power. Welcome to the Nintendo World Championships of 1990. And it kind of goes through the competition arena, the Power Walk, which is going to be all the booths. Here's some of the games that it's mentioning, like Acclaim's Double Dragon 2. Let's see what else. Capcom Rescue Rangers. Here's Castlevania 3 that year by Konami. LGN's got Punisher. So what amazing time to go back there and actually walk through and check out some of those booths. The NWC Super Stage featuring a performance of Nintendo-related fun lasting about an hour. So that's kind of cool. Game counselors. So just a ton of different things going on. Here's getting into the very first promo, I guess, for Final Fantasy. So this is the Nintendo version. Down here it talks about, I don't know why they have a picture of Mike Tyson here. It's kind of weird. Oh, there it is. So it's saying if you want to get to the end, you can enter this code and get to Mike Tyson. That's why he's there. Over here it's talking about the Panasonic Prism, which is one of those crazy old school giant projection TVs. I actually remember the very first game I played on a projection TV, and it was Kung Fu on the Nintendo. It was not my TV, it was a friend's TV, but I could not believe how huge it was. It was so fun. So this page talks about which stores actually have a World of Nintendo department. So you've seen those store displays that talk about World of Nintendo. Well, here it is listing them all. Let's just see if there's KB Toys here. Yep, KB Toys. I'm sure Toys R Us has one. Yep, Target stores. So yeah, basically lots of different stores down there, and it's talking about how to get to the World of Nintendo. Pretty funny pictures. That guy's just rocking out with his Nintendo sweatpants playing the Nintendo Power Pad. Okay, so here's Double Dragon 2 from Acclaim, which again is a really fun game. And over here on the right side, hands-free fun. So I guess if you're handicapped, that's a controller of sorts. I must say that it looks a little extreme, but hey, if it works, it's pretty cool. Solstice, puzzles and adventures in 3D. That's different. And this one, Dragon Spirit, I do remember that. NWC competition talks about the games that you actually have to play, and pretty much like the schedule, I believe. So it talks about Rad Racer there, Tetris, and Mario. Over on the right is Capcom's Rescue Rangers, and it's got a Mega Man 2 tip also, which is pretty cool. Here's just an ad for Nintendo Power, and then followed by the inserts so you can actually get your copies of Nintendo Power. Subscribe today. I never had a subscription. I could never get my parents to go for it. Okay, so here's Technos, and this is River City Ransom, which is a really awesome game. Baseball Simulator 1000 over here. Data East and HAL have some pretty cool ones. Look at that. There's Lolo Returns and Adventures of Lolo 2 right here. HAL Laboratories. That's a cool game. Hudson Soft and Jadico, which is Bases Loaded 2. I used to play that first one all the time. Kemco, Rocket Ranger Rocks, and Konami. There it is, Castlevania 3. Pretty awesome. SNK, how cool is that? There's Interactive, which I thought it said LGN. The Punisher is coming, so that's pretty cool. Talks about their other releases here. Back to the Future, TNC Wood Water Rage, Karate Kid, Jaws. So yeah, pretty hilarious. And then SNK, Crystallis, an adventure in World of Mutants. In a World of Mutants. So that's pretty cool. Gotta love SNK. And then wow, there's Sunsoft Batman. Talk about a really cool game. And Beware of the Wrath of the Black Manta. You know, I never played that by Taito. It looks cool. And then here's Ninja Gaiden 2, a new adventure in Ninja Magic by Tecmo. So, and then look at this, Nintendo Real Fruit Snacks presents. And it's the actual fruit snacks. I kind of remember those. Star in your own music video. Stop by the Nintendo Real Fruit Snacks exhibit. What is that about? Did anybody go to this? Anybody actually get a music video? Let me know. If you do, send it in and I will show it. Alright, so there you go, guys. That's all I got for the Reading Retro area. So let's check out what's next. Okay, moving right along, we've got another special guest. This time it's Dan from Odd Pod. Definitely check this guy out. He's going to be bringing us a movie review on something related to slugs.
Hey everybody, welcome to Movie Machine. I'm Dan from Odd Pod and I'm here to talk to you about Slither from 2006. Stop! Slither is a science fiction slash horror slash comedy written and directed by James Gunn, and it was his directorial debut. And the movie kind of bombed in the box office, but since then it's gained a cult following.
Oh my god, baby, what happened to your face?
It's just a bee sting.
Before Slither, James Gunn worked on the Scooby-Doo movies, and before that he worked with Troma. He wrote Tromeo and Juliet, and you can tell he still loves Troma in this movie because there are a few nods to it. For instance, you can see a clip from the Toxic Avenger and also a cameo from the president of Troma, Lloyd Kaufman. I hadn't seen this movie for years until recently, and for some reason in my head I always thought it was a really bad movie all these years, but since watching it again, it's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. And it kind of reminds me of the 80s horror movie Night of the Creeps, which is an excellent movie, but because of the, as you can see there, the little leechy slug creatures, pretty similar to Night of the Creeps, and I think it even mentions it in at the back of here as well, back of the DVD. But yeah, it's kind of to me it's kind of a cross between Night of the Creeps and The Faculty, because of the whole taking over, like aliens taking over kind of thing, so it's like a cross between that in a way. So let's take a close look at the DVD. Okay, so let's take a look. We've got a quote straight away: the best horror comedy since Shaun of the Dead. It's not. Loads of movies around this time kept putting stuff like the best something since Shaun of the Dead, just because Shaun of the Dead was so popular, but no, it's not as good as Shaun of the Dead at all. But it's a very cool image though. You got a lady in a bath and all the slugs sort of crawling in together. It's a really good image, I like it. The back, you got your typical stuff, you got all the bonusy things and everything, and you got another image of the bath, and it's a really good one. You've got the creepy little slug thing coming together. I like that. I can't read that through the viewfinder properly, but if you want to pause it and read the description of the movie, feel free. But basically, a meteor crashes on Earth, and the little slugs come out and infect, if I can show you, this guy. I can't remember the actor's name, it's probably here somewhere, but I can't remember it. When I think of this guy, I think of Mallrats. He was in Mallrats, and you probably know him as Merle, I think his name's Merle, from The Walking Dead, the brother of Daryl. But yeah, there's some cool little images of it though. But yeah, it is a good movie. It's a nice little, it's not over gory, but it's, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's not amazing, but it's a bit of fun. It's one of those, if you want to get takeout or a few beers, Friday night, Saturday night kind of movie, you don't have to think too much when you're watching it. It's good like that. So yeah, I think you'd enjoy it if you like your cheesy, fun, over the top silly horror movies. But yeah, so that is the DVD for Slither.
Now, I don't care what kind of leprosy you got. We need to find that girl. Now you can make this peaceful, or you can make it hard.
And that was my little review of the sci-fi comedy movie Slither from 2006. This has been Movie Machine. I'm Dan from Odd Pod. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Oh, Slither is an awesome movie. Thank you, Dan. Great job. But yeah, that movie's super dark, has some really awesome comedy elements, and just really bizarre all around. So thanks for showing that off, man. All right, it's our last and final stop on this episode. Let's check out what's new in the vinyl department on Music Beat. Alright, today on Music Beat, we're going to be unboxing the Castlevania vinyl record from MondoTees.com. Mondo does records, but lots of t-shirts, and all kinds of other cool stuff. I think they do like posters as well. But yeah, this was Castlevania. I have not even opened this, so let's go ahead and tear into it. Got my trusty Batman knife. Let's do it. Alright, here it is. You can definitely see it's a little smaller than the normal 12-inch vinyl records. So the 10-inch is pretty cool though. It's, yeah, it looks really nice. Quality of the jacket's cool, the artwork's good. I'll go and take the plastic off too. But this was from 1986, from the Konami game on the Nintendo. Also was on the Famicom, and it was composed by Kenjiro Yamashita. So she's awesome. If you haven't followed her stuff, she did a lot of crazy music. Pocky and Rocky 2, some other stuff too. So she's really good. But this was her first game soundtrack, and as you know, it's legendary. It's just awesome. So really excited to actually get the vinyl record. Let's go ahead and tear into this. I love seeing the plastic come off of these things because it always looks awesome with the plastic, but then when you actually remove this, it just looks super crisp and clear. So there we go. Oh, and the side piece here just fell off, but this is pretty awesome too. So show that in a second, but here it is. Looks like it folds out. Pretty cool. Wow. And so that's really awesome actually. So it's kind of like a map. Very cool. I love the artwork. Something that's interesting about the composer as well is that she actually went by a different name for the Nintendo version, the NES version, as opposed to the Famicom on the credits. So on the NES version, she actually went by James Banana, which is super weird, but it's a kind of a strange pun of the director of the 1958 movie of Dracula, James Bernard. So there's also other credits that are kind of interesting like that, like they change the name to other monster movie references in the end of Castlevania. But yeah, this is just such an awesome looking record. So let me pull out the actual vinyl here. Very cool vampire face on here. You know, I have to tell you too, this game really did freak me out when I first played it. I mean, I don't know, it was just, it felt like so intense. I liked Ghosts and Goblins a lot, but this one just seemed really, really hard, and it was really, really intense, and just seemed kind of scarier than Ghosts and Goblins for me when I was younger. But this artwork is phenomenal. I'll get some close-ups, but this is just crazy. So cool looking. So the track list for this record is side A has Underground, Prologue, Vampire Killer, Stalker, Wicked Child, and Walking on the Edge. Sounds like a pretty awesome metal album if you ask me. And then side B is Heart of Fire, Out of Time, Nothing to Lose, Poison Mind, Black Knight, and Voyager. So cool. And there you can see the credits too from Konami, which is so funny. I don't know how Konami is doing licensing like this, but at least they're doing some cool stuff with their, letting other companies do some cool stuff, I should say, with their intellectual properties, because this is just gorgeous. I really, really think this is awesome. And honestly, the face of side B there is so freaky. I think that's pretty horrifying. Side A is pretty cool too, but I don't know, man. They're both freaky. The blood dripping off the chin and whatnot. Definitely pretty scary. And also on the side kind of spine protector thing, you can see that it says coming soon from Mondo, Simon's Quest, which is awesome, Dracula's Curse, Super Castlevania 4, and then Symphony of the Night, all on vinyl. I mean, that's phenomenal. So pay attention to that if you're going to be looking for any of that. And then the artwork too, you can see, is by Becky Cloonan. So she did amazing. And it does say, enter at your own risk. If you think it's scary on the outside, wait till you see the basement. You're in for the longest night of your life. Ghosts, goblins, demons, wolves, bats, creatures lurking around every corner. As you descend deeper and deeper, they get thicker and thicker. Better stick close to the cavern floor. It's your only chance of finding a weapon or two. You're gonna need them, because when you finally meet the Count, you know he'll be going for the jugular. So keep your courage up and your stakes sharp, and say your prayers. Mondo is proud to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Castlevania franchise with the premiere vinyl release of the original soundtrack to the 1986 Famicom Nintendo Entertainment System classic that started it all. Now I have to say, that is pretty cool. I didn't even realize it was the 30th anniversary. I think I saw something about that, but that is impressive. Well, I hope you liked this unboxing of this Mondo release of Castlevania, the soundtrack. I'm going to go check this out right now. Thanks for watching Music Beat. Alright, that's going to do it for the very first episode of Retro Gaming Sunset. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'd like to thank my very special guests, Dan from OddPod and Joe from Retro Cynical. Thank you so much, guys. And if you'd like to be on this show, hit me up, send me a message. Maybe we can work something out. But thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned. And until next time, you keep it retro. Later on.